At the UN General Assembly today, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy sounded like a wartime leader carrying the weight of more than 3 years of fighting. He warned the global delegates that international law does not work without the backing of powerful friends and ultimately military backup. He added, weapons decide who survives. For tonight's interview, we are joined by former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, William Taylor. It's good to have you back with us again, Ambassador Taylor. What do you make of President Trump's remarks and his posting on social media yesterday about the war in Ukraine?
So, John, I was very interested to hear the president be so forthright in his support of Ukraine, so optimistic about what Ukraine might be able to do. You've already talked about his comments about shooting down Russian fighters coming across the border into NATO territory. So this, I think, was actually a pretty good day for Ukraine, for the United States, and for European security.
The president suggested Ukraine could take back territory. Whether he was talking about before this invasion or all the way back to 2014 wasn't exactly clear. But is that an accurate assessment that this is possible?
John, of course it's possible. It would take a big effort on the part of Europe and the United States to provide Ukraine with the weapons necessary to do that. But the economic potential of Ukraine, of West Europe, of the United States, of Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, this body of allies, of supporters for Ukraine clearly has the potential to do that. It would take a big effort. And it would take both the military side and the economic side to do that, but it's sure possible.
Would it require that kind of an offensive and prolonged action? Would it require more from the United States than we hear publicly at the moment?
Yes, it would. So the Russians have been in that part of, have been in Donbass, in the eastern part of Ukraine, and in Crimea for 11 years. They're established there. They're dug in there. Most of the Ukrainians who wanted to leave have left. So this would be a major effort on the part of the Ukrainians to push the Russians all the way back. That said, John, right in the beginning of this war, not even the beginning of this war, the war started in 2014, as you pointed out, but in the beginning of this big war in February of 2022, the Ukrainians pushed the Russians all the way back out of Ukraine, back into Belarus, back to where they started from in Donbass. So the Ukrainians have the capability to do that if they've got the weapons, if they've got the capabilities that Europeans and Americans would have to provide.
How do you see this moment we are in now relative to the summit in Alaska? In other words, was anything gained after that summit that has brought us to this moment?
There was something gained there on the negative side. So we didn't gain anything out of that summit, but we did prompt a response from the Europeans. The Europeans, with 3 days' notice, so the Alaska summit was on a Friday. Monday, the top leaders of Europe showed up, including President Zelenskyy, including the head of NATO, Secretary General of NATO, the Brit, the French, the Finn, the Italian. They showed up with 3 days' notice, and they made some real progress in talking through the whole issue with President Trump. So in that sense, the more positive sense, there was something that came out of that bad move in Anchorage.
30 seconds left, Ambassador. So some people read this as President Trump saying, OK, Europe, you take care of it. Ukraine can do it. This is really all on your shoulders, Europe. Is there that level of support in Europe?
It's developing, John. The Europeans are developing what they've got. They've made big commitments on resources. They've made big commitments on putting troops on the ground in Ukraine, led by the French and the Brits. So they are stepping up. They know they have to develop their own capabilities. They're also, at the same time, in a parallel effort, going to try to keep the Americans on board, because it needs to be, at least in the time being, it needs to be both.